simulator.
Streaming. I have a problem. Ta-da! That should be right now. Just your poor Cobra's face.
Just having to like not look too pissed off about how long this was taking.
I think you look a bit like, you know, when Scientologists invite people off the street to some funny little basement room and stuff like that, just sat there going, why am I here? It's just a day trip to London with my colleagues.
Now my life's about to change.
And now,
Yeah, good for that.
but while they're in that cubicle, is it all functioning?
It's all fun.
Hooray! Woo, something worked somehow. I've still no idea how to do that.
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
The joys of unrepeatable success.
Mm.
How cool do your intros? You're in charge of ground.
So, yeah. Tonight we have Jordan with us. Hello. Jordan Brooks is a customer of ours in Bean Shop, which is where we kind of like first connected that way. Good evening.
Hi.
Talking to
Take away from me.
Yeah. Tonight we've got Jordan, who has fantastically decided to say yes to sitting in front of James for 2 hours and be painted.
Yeah.
You ever had your portrait done before?
No, I haven't.
No?
No.
Never had the opportunity, nothing to come up?
I don't think so. No.
Hmm?
Those no.
No, yeah.
Have you had yours done?
I've had mine done, yeah.
And did you think, right, everyone else has got to experience
Yeah,
this?
basically, yeah. It's so traumatic.
Sure.
If I got it, so is everyone else.
That I know. It cropped up. I thought, brilliant, why not?
Yeah.
And that's actually when I started working with James. Really, from that point on, was like, actually, that's kind of cool. And so I now sit on the computer bits, which, as you just saw, I'm amazing at.
I particularly like the bit when you had to get out of your chair and get James to come over.
Yeah,
But it's constantly mysterious why something works or doesn't
Yeah.
work. So yeah,
Right.
that's we're here for the evening. So yeah, so comedian.
Yeah.
Let's go straight into that. How long have you been doing that for?
I think 12 years. 12 years, yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, first gig was in 2011.
How was that?
Oh man, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad.
You'd hope so.
I mean, it'd be absolutely insane if you were the best you could be first go, because why would you continue after that?
Mm-hmm.
Just one and done. No, it was bad, man. It was I was booked to do 5 minutes, and I think I did 18, and it was to a room of like 10 people. Half of them didn't know half of them didn't know that comedy was about to happen in the room they were in, and so for the first sort of hour of the show, they just sort of one by one left.
So how many were you performing to at the end?
By the end, about 4. Yeah. 2 of it for act. But I still like got a lot out of it. I thought, okay, I'll do that again.
Cool. What led up to you to look at putting your toes on stage for the first time?
Oh, man. I don't know. Just thought that's doable. That's doable. Do that. I don't know. I just
You have
really
other options.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. True.
Do that. I just really liked stand up, and then I had had a friend who was just really funny. We were both just like funny people, and then I think we just sort of goaded each other into trying it, and then.
Okay.
And then,
So did your friend do a slot at the same?
He did it a few months later. He did it. Yeah, he was great. He's really funny as well. So like, it was just really nice.
So he was good at it first.
Yeah, he was really good at it. Shameful. Yeah. It's not the way you
That
do
didn't
it.
give you a clue.
And where was the gig?
It was in Cardiff,
Okay.
where I lived for a few years. So yeah, that's where I started.
Is that like, were you there through uni then, or?
Yeah, I went to Newport University, which is no longer a university, which should tell you everything you need to know about how successful it was. But it had a really good arts college, so I went and did animation, studied animation for a bit, and then stuff around in Cardiff. Yeah.
So, what was the cause of like just sort of going, you know what, animation isn't for me, let's move on to something else?
I just had this like intuitive feeling that I was in no way good at it.
Fair enough.
I just had a feeling that I wasn't very good. So yeah.
So you've done your first gig in Cardiff. Was it a like pub gig?
Yeah, it was a pub gig. It was in a sort of side room, which is where a lot of them are. Have you been to see live comedy? Have you been to see any?
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah, what have you seen?
I've seen sort of some in sort of Soho, the kind of back rooms that you're kind of talking about of really upcoming sort of people or not very well known at the time, and then gone all the way through to sort of some of the bigger names.
Amazing. Who did you see when you went to these sort of smaller gigs? Is there anyone that you remember?
I remember seeing a troupe called Ridiculissimus. And they were absolutely bonkers, mental, interesting, wacky as hell, and ended up weirdly performing in my local village.
Where was that?
In Buckland Newton, which is just down the road from here. Somebody in the village is a member of, or was a member of the Lights of Dorset amateur dramatics stuff, but had actually like feelers in loads of different places.
Yeah.
Knew these people really well, and then ended up inviting them down, and they were just like, well, yeah, why not? And it was like some of the most surreal comedy I've ever seen.
Was it the first time you'd seen something like that?
Yes.
How old were you?
Live. Was 12, 13.
Man, isn't it great when you're younger and you see the first mad thing?
Yes, yeah. I mean, to the extent where this was a museum that they were basically the security at a museum. So even when you first turned up, again, this was in sort of local village thing. You turned up to the village hall, and they started to sort of frisk you or tell you where to sit, and then it, like, sat you with your family, and they're just like, oh no, you up, move, sit over here, and the whole thing started as soon as you walked through the door. Yeah, and it was just this whole immersive experience, which was brilliant.
Like that age as well, to walk into such a
it was great. It was really great. And I hadn't. Yeah, at that stage I hadn't laughed so much in ever. It was brilliant.
Nothing's ever funny as when you're young, is it?
So what was the so what was the first comedy act that you saw that just went, that's just awesome?
I don't know. I really liked Harry Enfield and Chums and like French and Saunders and stuff. I liked sort of like silly stuff. But then in terms of stand-up, I guess like Jack D and Joe Brand and Lee Evans were probably like, I liked the physical stuff, but I also just really liked sort of, I don't know, deadpan stuff. So yeah, I remember watching a Jack D video, just it's always fun with a VHS because it will tell you how much you loved that thing based on the state of the tape. Yeah. And the Jack D one was worn out by the time I was like 14, there was the parts of it that were like unwatchable because I just rewound it and rewatched it so often.
Wow.
I just really, really loved it. But I think now if I watched it, I'd probably be like, all right, it's fine. But yeah, at the time, it's one of those things that you're just like, how is he thinking like this? How is he having these thoughts?
But then I guess it's now come to you and you're doing stand-up comedy. Then you're having, I guess, similar thoughts to be able to sort of come up with the material that you have. And
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Like it's like you learn how to do it. So you see the mechanics of it, which like, did you find that every time you've watched live comedy, do you recognise the formulas more and more?
Yes.
And the mechanics of it, and it gets like not less impressive. It's just like a different experience of the thing, isn't it?
And how seeing quite a few different comedians, it does follow a pattern, but each comedian has their own take on that pattern.
Yeah. There's only so many patterns you can use, really.
Yeah.
Who's your least favourite? Come on, Graham.
It's one I was sort of slightly underwhelmed by.
Was it me when you followed me on Instagram the other day?
Well, I wasn't going to get into that. It was actually Catherine Ryan. Like on panel shows, absolutely phenomenal. I think brilliant panel shows. But going to see her live, I was
underwhelmed.
Yeah, underwhelmed. It was good, but it just didn't excite me as much as seeing her at a panel show.
Not enough whelming.
But yeah.
Where was it?
That was in Bristol.
Was it in a big venue?
Medium size. Yeah, it wasn't huge.
Yeah. Do you think that makes a difference as a comedy viewer, whether you're in a small room?
Well, it's the same question. We'll come back to you in a minute as a performer.
Will you answer first? And I'll...
Yes, I think it does, but I think it also depends on how experienced the person is on stage.
Yeah.
Whether they can play to a crowd and hold all of them has a different. I think that's a different element.
Yeah.
Or it is a different string to a comedian's bow by being able to kind of go onto a huge stage.
Yeah.
I have no idea how Peter Kay goes and sort of does the Millennium sort of Millennium Stadium.
Yeah, I don't, and I never will. But it's a particular performance style. I think it's like a different thing almost, where you have to adjust your delivery so that it's.
But then Milton Jones, so he performs in a pub relatively local to here, so he knows the landlord. So it's like the tiniest venue you'll get 90 people in, but he can then hold the Vic in Bournemouth. He's done a few weeks there, and sort of which offers.
It's I think it's a different. But then maybe with one liners, it doesn't really matter so much. I don't know, but yeah, playing out to such a big, it's just like.
And what's the biggest size gig that you've done then?
Don't know. Not massive. Certainly not massive. I mean, maybe like maybe 1,000, maybe just shy of 1,000, maybe.
That's cool.
Yeah,
it's a lot. Actually, stand up. You want it to be smaller, don't you?
It's the ideal, really.
You've got more than 200 people. Suddenly, there's this.
It's
something
gets locked for sure. Yeah. You're not bouncing off each other. You're not feeding off an energy. So, I think it does make a difference. Like, I don't performing to bigger crowds, which thankfully is not a problem. But it's just not. It just doesn't really. I mean, it does work, but it doesn't work in the way that I would like it to, ideally. So, yeah. But do you not prefer watching comedy in a small room?
Yeah.
So you don't. Yeah, you do feel the difference. Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's something to be said for communal laughter. As you get taken along with a lot of the laughter. So something which, if it's you perform to 10 people, you'll get one person that finds it funny. But then if you scale that up, 10 times, then 10 people find it funny, and you're
suddenly being thrown off by little pockets of people not laughing for ages, or suddenly laughing at one thing, and it's all a bit sporadic. I guarantee that had you seen Catherine Ryan do that exact same show in like a 50-seater, you would have had a far better time.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the scale of it has something to do with it sometimes.
So with it's performing, doing comedy on stage, you said like your first gig was kind of complete. You know, it didn't go particularly well. You were, yeah. What's been a highlight so far?
I don't know. I think I've just had lots of nice little highlights. So there's nothing that I'd sort of I've come away going, well, that's the thing I'm going to remember the most. I think it's just like lots of ones. But yeah, like sometimes it's just like certain gigs or certain shows that just surprise you by going well, or there's something in the air that night that just like makes it feel really fun. So yeah, I think it's just those really, but there's nothing sort of comes to mind. Yeah, usually towards the end of a show, if I've been doing a show for a while and it's comes to the end, that feels significant. It's like the end of that thing. Yeah.
I mean, on that score, do you, when you're doing a show for a while, first off, what's a while for you in terms of how long you're doing a show? And do you see that show progress over the course of time that you're doing it? So it's actually a bit different from when you first started.
Oh man, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. It goes on such a. It's a different when you start. Well, it's like this. You know, it's the way it started is not how it's going to finish, and that's. I think it's the same sort of thing, really. That it's a whole process, and so it's really. I just really like building a show. Like it's my favorite thing to do because it is the journey. It's the experience of making the thing and building it. That is the most enjoyable part of it. When it's done, it's like, well, right, that's that. Mm-hmm. But actually being in it is really like that's the most fun, I think.
And where do you get a lot of your inspiration for? You know, just the starting blocks of creating a show.
It's just so arbitrary. It's so random. I don't know. I think it's just something that I'm just like fascinated by at a particular time, or something might happen that gets me thinking about one thing, and then I might read a book about that thing, and then the book will recommend other books or link to other books, and then I'll keep. You know what I mean? Suddenly you go, all right, I'm really interested in this thing for some reason, so I'll just keep going. Yeah, and then just being open to like wherever that takes you is wherever you end up. Yeah, I just really like it. It's cool. Yeah.
And have you always been a bit of a storyteller?
You don't let me answer your question?
No, not. Have you not figured out how this works yet?
James, when did you get into art?
I'm not going to try and join it. Just explain. Have you finished?
You carry on.
Okay. Somebody asked me when I started painting the other day. I think it was the same open studio.
Yeah,
that's what you
met.
And my mum was there, so I had to ask her. She said you were too, and she said it with this slight annoyance in her voice, like, "Yeah, we had to start cleaning the walls." 2 years.
Yeah,
it's
we knew that.
Yeah,
it was no change.
It was all over.
And
all these high hopes we had. No.
But isn't that cool? Do you think about that? And it's like there's a comfort in feeling like there's been some consistent.
I think the thing is, it's.
Or is that just the story that we tell ourselves?
I guess there's a bit of that, and there's also a little bit of how we view art as existing in the world. And it's treated like it's this sort of magic special thing. And for me, it's like talking.
Yeah.
You know, everybody talks. Everyone should make art. Everyone should sing. You know, not everyone's going to be good at it, but you should do it anyway because it's part of being a human being. And making art is one of those things. And so, I wasn't any good when I was 2. I imagine it was all rubbish. Don't think I ever got anything hung on the fridge.
You didn't even make.
Never made it to the fridge.
You didn't even make it to the fridge?
No.
That's such an open gallery.
I know. You'd think. And yet.
The bar is really low for it.
So maybe that's why I've always been trying to be better. Like one day I'll be good enough.
Yeah.
One day I'll have my work on the fridge.
What do you think?
That's really what I'm trying to do.
Do you think you'll ever get something that you think
this isn't going now?
So your next exhibition, you just need to get in a load of fridges and stick all the works that you've done on the doors of it.
That's actually really fun. Maybe you should frame them in like a fridge door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just open it up more in there.
Yeah.
No, but nobody was ever persuaded to. What's the word I'm looking for? Deface a perfectly good appliance. Why not?
Yeah.
No, it was,
Wow.
I
Fingers crossed.
could always have the opportunity to do it. That's the best thing I had was no one getting in the way.
Mhm.
Almost the worst thing someone can have when they've got an interest in something is for their parents to rally around and go, "Oh, it could be your thing," you know. When I think of kids who get sort of paraded
Yeah,
by
for sure.
parents and stuff, God, that's
Yeah, you're adding extra layers.
they end up for Disney or something.
Yeah.
But I always just had people just sort of stayed out of my way. And, well, I suppose that's happening now.
Yeah.
And that was a really nice thing to have. It's that kind of that freedom to just do it. It's acceptance,
Yeah.
and I think that's yeah. I think that's where it comes from. It's me talking to the world and asking questions and solving puzzles.
Yeah.
And if if I can
Yeah. Yeah, that's
get
it.
more
Yeah.
out of it than that.
What do you do anything artistic, right?
Did you draw rude pictures on some people's copies?
Oh, I do that quite a bit. Yeah.
You actually, what's the rudest thing you've done on a coffee?
I'm quite good at cock and balls. That's it's.
Although I still think you copied it at bus stops.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he's entirely original.
But it's quite funny when it's quite unsuspecting as well, and it's sort of like it's a nice pattern. You chat with them, so there's sort of lots of eye contact.
But you know what's coming.
And yeah, and then you sort of push the drink, so brilliant, bang for it, and they look down. It's just like,
Have you ever done to someone and then denied that that's what you were doing?
yeah, I'm practicing at Swan.
Yeah.
That game.
Please be kind.
Yeah.
I'm really learning. I'm really trying.
First time I saw it, I genuinely thought that's what was happening. It was, I thought that was, it
Yeah.
hadn't gone particularly well, so I was just polite about it. Really common.
It had gone very well. I was quite proud of that one. Yes. No, artistic like not massively. I juggled.
Do you?
Yeah, I was part of a German group for a while.
Oh, that's fun.
Which was good fun. But
Did you travel around?
and no, it wasn't sort of like a travelling group. It was more of a
Stationary.
Yeah. We meet up. We do. We throw things at each other. We test that gravity works each week, and
That's right.
did a couple of events, not massive, but it was more our own kind of enjoyment of it. Because what we used to enjoy is having like 4 or 5 people and juggling between us. So we'd have 15, 20 clubs going between all of us and working out how the pattern needs to work for it to continue.
Yeah.
That's good fun.
That's really fun. But you don't do it anymore.
I can just sort of
I can do it anytime I want. That's shooting off it.
yeah, basically. A lot of the members of the groups, a couple of them had kids, a couple of them moved away, and it fell.
I just realised it's basically bell ringing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Except with throwing rather than pulling.
there's quite a lot of maths involved as well.
A bit like bell ringing.
Is there maths involved in bowling?
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like it.
That's good.
I don't know if there's any system.
Yeah. No, it comes out pretty random because not many people are that good at it, but you don't really think about it when it's going well. So
No, that's true.
they
that's
ring on
true,
Tuesdays and
I've heard. I can hear.
well, of course, yeah. Every now and again they'll get a perfect round going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
and you don't even register it because it's this.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
It's just what it's meant to
It
sound
locks into place and then goes into the background. Maybe you could take up bell ringing as a substitute for drum beat.
of time.
Yeah, and mobile and.
It's pretty tough. I
It
did
is,
a
yeah.
picture of the bell rings. It's hanging in the chamber actually, it's pretty physical.
Yeah, yeah. I can
Well,
imagine.
Here, little nugget of trivia for you. The word dumbbell came about because sometime, I think, probably late 18th, 19th century, they started to link overeating to corpulence. It took them a while to figure it out, but eventually they got their heads around the idea. And some doctors figured out that exercise was a good way of sort of keeping the weight off and not getting really fat and having gout and dying young. And so there was this big craze for bell ringing as a form of exercise. And people were mad for it, so much so that there was a proper racket and everyone was sick to death of it really quickly. So the dumbbell was the first exercise equipment where you pulled a rope but it didn't make a sound. So you still had to make the effort of moving the weight.
Is that where
but it didn't make, so it was a dumbbell.
That's where it comes from?
It was a piece of exercise equipment.
No, that's not where it comes from. Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Great. Can you Google
But I
that?
could be lying to you.
You're really genuinely good. It sounds like right on the cusp of being both real and not real. So what's your like? How did you describe it, James? Like speaking to the world or whatever. Like, what's your? If everyone should be artistic, what's your thing?
How do I speak to them?
Yeah. There isn't cock and balls on the top of a coffin.
Which is, by the way, not drawing but writing.
Mm.
You write.
It's so true. It's the same thing. Yeah.
It's just
Same
not in
thing.
the alphabet, but it could be. Yeah,
Yeah.
the 27th letter in the alphabet. Then we all know what it would be.
Yeah,
it's
which
a
a public
fun
poll, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I don't know. One of these annoyingly positive people. I'm always finding good in something.
Yeah.
If somebody's down, upset, whatever, then there's always positive to be had out of it, in my opinion. And I always bring that to the table. And I kind of, I guess, and business-wise, I just don't stop. There's no real off button. There's always something to, not a scheme to be had. I don't like that kind of terminology.
Yeah.
There's always a way.
You got to stay on top of it.
Improve. You can improve something efficiency, get something better. Always look at things in a different way. Or so that's
But I think being positive and helping people is that requires a certain way of engaging with the world. It is kind of the same thing, I think. Frame that.
exactly.
That's really nice. Yeah.
That sounds kind of quite wanky, but it's
I think that's
He's always banging on about how kind of I can always seem to find a positive in something that's going on, even if it's sort of like a massive storm or anything.
It's genuinely a skill because not everyone can do it. I was going to ask you what's the worst event you've ever experienced where you've found a silver lining, but that could be a really bleak answer.
Gosh. So many.
Are you like the go-to guy in a crisis? It's like, do people go, "Oh, Graham will make this okay"?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a crisis, but there's like a core group of people that I know, love, friendship-wise and whatever, and it's just I'm always the one in that group that's kind of trying to chivvy everybody along and
But who does it?
Nice.
Poor old Graham.
Everybody does it, but they just don't understand it and don't realise it.
No.
That's
Sick.
That's really sweet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you find, James, that putting your energy into this has taken your energy away from stuff like what Graham does in terms of like being there for people. But it's like,
Oh yeah, no, I'm not that person.
yeah, my question is, has it made yourself?
Yeah, it does.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Are you sorry?
I am self.
Yeah, because I think I am.
Yeah,
As
well,
well, like
the
I struggle with the self-absorption of like.
yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing is, some people have a sense that they're here to do something important,
Yeah,
and everyone else is kind of draining them and getting in the way of it. Right?
yeah.
And I'm one of those people. I need to get over myself.
No, but it's fascinating. But it's just
It's absolute nonsense, and I'm aware of that. I'm not like delusional,
Oh no, sure it is, but it's there.
but at the same time, it's there.
Yeah, because where everyone has a relationship to that thing or whatever it is, like ego or whatever, and so like it's just how you. Yeah, it's what your relationship to it is.
So yes, that's an interesting one. But I think everybody acts in self-interest generally. But you'd hope you'd pick your self-interest to sort of match with what works for everybody.
Yeah,
Because if your self-interest is to everyone else's detriment, then it's not self-interest at all, because it will bring you down. It will have a negative effect on you.
Yeah,
There is
people
the
don't
question
see.
of
People don't necessarily see that.
altruism, and the flip side of it is sort of the whole virtue signaling thing that people are so keen to do. I feel sometimes like I'm the only person who really understands internet trolls. I think they get a raw deal. I mean, it's not okay, but people are going, well, why would they be so nasty? And you're going, you just posted a whole load of pictures of yourself doing a fun run, talking about how much you raised for charity.
Yeah.
Like, look how good I am. Like, shut up. Just give the charity the money and shut up. No one needs to see pictures of you with your sash and your rosette and your big self-satisfied shit-eating grin. I don't care. And that's exactly...
Is that a direct...
to respond, that's what will come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
So I have the good sense to keep my mouth shut. And also I know how uncharitable that would be. This person is doing a good thing.
Yeah.
But they're doing a good thing so everyone can see them doing a good thing, which is a terrible reason. And that's why people react to that kind of stuff.
I think so. But everyone's playing the game. Like it's like if you're on the internet and you're posting, you're playing a certain type of game, and so you either opt in or out. And so for some people, it's also people just want to have a reason to put some stuff out into the world.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And that's
and I'm all in favour of that.
Yeah, as much as it. Yeah.
But I think it's like you let it go and you leave it there, and you don't put it out there with an agenda and some way of getting back at people that don't respond the way you want them to.
So do you think that we are inherently self-interested and there's no true selflessness, altruism?
I'm not sure I do believe in altruism, because I think we do. I think we do stuff all the time out of inherent goodness.
Yeah.
But that inherent goodness comes from a deeper desire to contribute to something.
So like a bit,
So if at the
thing.
very deepest level, I mean, we just had Remembrance Day, and people that sacrificed their lives for something they believed in. If somebody were to do that and the Ghost of Christmas Future on their day off said, "It's nothing to do with Christmas, I just want to show you how your sacrifice is meaningless," would they still do it? It's not the act itself, it's something deeper. And I don't think it's an answerable question. I think it's a really interesting.
No, it's not. It's definitely not answerable.
And I think it's more that I'm rather allergic to false displays of self-satisfied virtue, because
it feels it doesn't feel authentic. But what about you, Graham? Do you think people can? Do you think everything is in self-interest? Or
with my the positivity that I have, everybody has their good traits about them.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean to say that they aren't necessarily good people.
Yeah.
But in terms of what you're asking,
I would add that I don't believe there's such things as bad people. People can do bad things.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. It's not. I think. But I think it's just like I think a lot of these traits have like a negative connotation, and they're presented as being undesirable, right? But to act in your own self-interest is not inherently wrong.
No.
In fact, that is just part of being a person.
Well, yeah,
That's what you make
it can be part of self-preservation.
You make it work.
Exactly,
You
yeah.
make it work by aligning your interests with those of the community that you belong to,
Yeah.
and ideals and principles that you would like to be active in the world.
Yeah.
A lot of what I do with the art stuff is might look, I hope it is helping people. I hope it is reaching out to them. But ultimately, I want to be in a world where art exists and is valued, and I'm not a weirdo.
Yeah.
So there's self-interest absolutely
Yeah.
going on there. And if I were to deny that or sort of act like some kind of martyr, then I'd want to
I
slap.
think that's what it is, right? So when someone is being like very showy in their display of altruism or whatever, it feels like dishonest because it feels like you're completely denying that self-interest, that impulse of self-interest, or at least the knowledge of it. And so it doesn't then it comes across as dishonest. Yeah.
But also, I think there's an element of people that will do these altruistic things and just keep so quiet about it that nobody even knows that they're doing it.
I mean, can you imagine?
Long work for charity, babe.
Yeah.
It keeps coming back, doesn't
Well,
it?
it's like what came out about George Michael after he died.
Yes.
They've been doing this, and I was just like,
First thing I thought about was George
it's
Michael.
just there's something
He's
about
really
that I can't
good.
stop thinking about it. It's
Yeah.
like I don't know. That's how you do it.
Exactly.
That's how you do it.
Exactly. And and I quite like that because it means that people could assume that about me, even though I don't do anything for anyone. And I go, well, he probably does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's still a
He's
bit
not
of-
the sort of person to shout about it. I go, no, I'm not. Am I? I bet you think I'm a great guy. So it was a lovely. You mentioned names. It puts them as people mention it in the YouTube video. So
Oh, does it?
I'm not going to say his name, but a popular American comedian who was cancelled, redhead, and sometimes quite rude. But he talked about being in first class or business class on this plane and seeing a guy get on he was going to war. He was getting on a commercial flight to go off to Afghanistan, Iraq, whatever, to be back with his regiment. And he said this guy was sort of helping people with their bags and going, yes ma'am, no ma'am, sir, madam, being super polite. And he said, I thought about, I could give him my seat for the flight. And he said, and I felt really good about it. I didn't do it. And it's a sort of strange pleasure in there
Yeah.
that I do recognise that. I think sometimes
Yeah,
you can.
sure.
It's how we think of ourselves gives us that kick, and that's where that whole sort of virtue signaling rewards people.
Yeah. But but in order to enjoy that fully, you have to deny that that's part of it.
Yeah.
So
In a
then-
sense, yeah.
So you sort of you have to deny that to yourself, I guess. What's the most selfish thing you've done, Graham?
It's the most awful.
Yeah.
I think I would win. But you never know. People can surprise you.
I would say about those sort of altruistic people that don't mention anything. It's,
Yeah.
completely opposite. Evil, nobody knows.
Yeah, I don't think I've done anything. No, I'm sure I've done things where I haven't told people I've done a nice thing and kept that. But it's been so hard.
Really just saving it for later.
Yeah. I'll get an argument against the
Well, shit.
I saved you in 1993. You know that? Yeah.
So when's your next gig?
There's one this week in London. It's like a sort of small, silly gig. I'm sort of doing that for fun, really. And then, I've got a few gigs towards the end of the year. And then that's it. And then doing a show. So doing a show in London for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is that sort of like a longest time that you've done a show for, or is?
No, I don't think. I think that's probably the like. I think I've done that length before, but I don't think I've done more than 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's this show about?
Oh man, I don't know. It's about it's sort of about the Titanic.
Ah,
But yeah, did you see what have you?
I had just had like a 3-minute scan through.
Oh yeah.
But that popped up.
There's a trailer,
and I quite liked that.
Yeah.
But the genius bit I saw was the tiny hat.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
That's someone who understands comedy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so it's sort of about the Titanic, but it's also about a whole bunch of other stuff, and not just about. It sort of isn't about it, and yeah, I think it's a good show. I really enjoy doing it. I've enjoyed making it.
So how long's the process for you making a show like that?
It would usually be a year,
Mhm.
or sort of like 10 months, because for a lot of acts like me, as in sort of commercially unsuccessful, the Edinburgh Fringe is the thing to do. So you sort of sit on that carousel
Yep.
of, you know, building up to do a show in August at the Edinburgh Fringe for a month, and then you come back and start thinking about another one. So yeah, usually about a year, but then this one was 18 months. Yeah, it's gone through different versions, and there's been other people who've been involved in making it, and it's been really like, yeah, it's been a really fun process. I've like really enjoyed it. So
Is there a troupe or a group of you that kind of work together quite frequently, or?
No, it's not. No, no, I'm afraid not. Yeah, there's like a few comics I just love and like love working with and stuff. So like want them involved whenever, which is really nice. You know, sort of building up. Yeah, it's just good. It's just meet a lot of good, funny, interesting people. So yeah.
And you have quite a blast when you go and do the Edinburgh Fringe. And...
Yeah. It's fun. It's like, yeah, it is a bit of a challenge, just in the sense that it's just a lot. It's a lot to. Have you
I've never been.
Man, you should go.
Oh,
I just don't think I talked around. So
yeah.
You did your best.
Yeah, I tried my best. I went for the hard sell, but yeah, I think you'd enjoy it. Yeah.
I've heard it's really tough though. It's like there's so many things happening.
Yeah,
That
it's overwhelming.
3 or 4 people in the audience, you're doing well.
Yeah, it can be like that. It can be like that sometimes. Yeah, it's just it's a lot. How are you in big crowds?
Okay. I went to Glastonbury again.
Were you waiting for him to say I don't like them, and then you were going to say you come to one of my shows?
It actually wasn't, but had he said that,
We were
I
talking
almost
about
certainly would have.
listening to comedians and trying to finish their jokes for them.
Was I've never been to Glastonbury. What is it? How many people go?
The year I went was 140,000, I think.
That's
not
just
not including the
unfathomable.
No, it's not
staff and that. So
Not for me. Thank you.
yeah, it's really getting to and from places. I felt that there were arteries of walkways where you would kind of get on, and you just at the minute that you're on that bit, you're just moving.
Yeah,
You can't turn around. You can't walk the other way. And then if you wanted to get off at a certain point, you have to kind of almost plan it in advance and go, right, let's get to the edge now, and then off we go and go to the next bit. And it's that's intense.
Do you just feel like you're holding your breath for 3 days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently it's a nightmare place to play as well. Musicians I know that play that hate it.
Yeah, I can imagine it's not that fun.
And then again, none of people are playing the Pyramid stage on a Saturday night. That might be different. I presume it probably is.
Yeah, you probably
Actually,
do
no,
get some.
That's not true. There was one musician I met who had a great time playing.
Who was that? You going to tell us the name? Or
Paul
just...
McCartney.
I see why you didn't just volunteer that.
Yeah,
No, that's a big name. That's a big clanger.
Yeah, just sort of a happenstance of being in the same place, which was also very quiet, sort of off duty kind of. The hotel he was staying at, he was staying at again the year before they hired the whole thing. Because he was doing his Glastonbury show.
Yeah.
He was back again, sort of with his sort of immediate family and stuff like that. Because a friend of his was playing at Glastonbury. Well, this was Elton John. So people said a friend of mine is playing. Didn't have to point out, but you know, it was.
He's going to say, "Oh, my mate's there."
It was the most.
It's not just going to be like
thing.
his mate Adrian. It's going to be Elton John.
Exactly. It was just the most interesting thing because there's some different rules to the social interaction which are not made by him or anyone else. They're just circumstantial in a way, in that you don't introduce yourselves because he's never going to remember your name, doesn't need to, and you know he's got you. So there's this sort of, but at the same time, he was really lovely, nice. You know, she didn't have to be, but you know, he was. We were there playing music in the bar, you see, so he was just sort of listening, clapping my bass solos.
Wow.
Very good. And then he played my bass, that one. Which he didn't even ask. He just picked it up and had to go, put his foot on this expensive chair while he was doing
That's very rude.
It was great.
That's very rude.
I know. No, I
hope he gets tagged in this video.
I didn't. He will do now. No, but it was a delight, and it's just such an interesting thing that, like, I mean, I wonder. I don't know. Once you're, around your 80s, and you've been that famous since your early 20s.
Mm.
How much can you remember what it was like to be any other way?
Not being known.
And but at the same time, he was sort of, he was chatting to people who were coming up, and I mean, I wasn't going to do anything as vulgar as ask for a selfie or anything like that, but I did take a photo of his footprint next to my case. So that was my little.
That's really cool.
That was my little.
Did it be painted?
Reminder.
That you turn that into a.
No.
You should do.
No, I'm not sure I could make it a painting. I suppose I probably could. I haven't really thought about it. It's not the sort of thing I paint.
Is it not? I thought you did like things. People.
I do,
people places things.
but usually from life.
Right.
People bless it. So you paint anything.
It's a very polite way of saying
I think it says that on my website.
I'll paint anything. I'll paint anything.
Oh no, they're the categories on my website.
Oh, are they really? Oh, it sounds like I did my research.
Yeah.
That's just pure chance. But
Yeah. Who's the biggest celebrity you've met, Graham?
Tom Jolly, I think.
No way, really?
He was a German.
Was he?
Mhm.
Where did he live at?
No, it was just a random visit. I think it was when I was at school.
Oh,
Got to sign some chip paper.
I think we meant in the shop and you had to.
In the shop we had Henning Baines come in.
Really?
That was quite cool. He cycles between his gigs.
Was he?
Yeah, so he'll sort of have like 2 or 3 days in between each gig, and he will cycle like
fun.
to and
Wow.
from. It's quite
Yeah.
way to do things. Nish Kumar came in as well. He was
Oh, great, yeah.
came in and also visited Paul across the road.
Right,
at the
yeah.
beaten track. There's a film guy that comes in to us quite regularly, but
What's the film? You're not allowed to say the name.
I can't. No.
It's Steven Spielberg.
Guy Ritchie?
No, he's local though, isn't he?
So, yeah. I had a weird conversation with your mum the other day. She was very keen to volunteer.
Leave it at that.
No, she does ask her. She was trying to persuade me to do a portrait for someone. She was very nice. But she'd like to point out that I think she's very proud of him, which is
Oh,
sweet.
no, I'm Guy Ritchie's mum.
Yeah.
Oh, pleased to meet you.
Yeah. But she did at least first ask if I'd heard of him,
Right.
rather than just assume.
Yeah. That's nice of her.
It
That's
was.
humble.
Yeah, it
That's,
didn't put me on the spot.
that's humble of a mother.
That's considerate to the ignorant people she might be chatting to. But Sean Bean.
Yes.
Going in and out.
Sean Bean's been in.
Oh.
Does he live nearby?
Yeah, he does live nearby.
If he doesn't, that must be a really good dentist.
No way, Sean Bean lives here.
Yeah.
I've not seen him. In Three Wishes.
You haven't gone to the same dentist.
Nursing a latte, yeah. Who else you had in there? And why haven't you taken their photos and got them to sign it and put it on the wall in a really
Yeah, that'd be awful. We should do that.
Because we want them to come back. That's the whole point.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's always been a thing that we've said if anybody does go. When we have the roastery in Bruton, and around the back of the roastery is a recording studio, and it's where Reef were recording their stuff. And
What, Reef is in, like, put your hands up?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still going.
Reef Art's still going.
Yeah.
He lives near here?
there was
the
Somerset based.
Jack lives in Cheddar. He's got a farm in Cheddar. So he's the big bassist, big white beard.
Wow.
When I was 19, I was in a band, played around London. Did a gig. At the time, they were called Naked, which I think was one of their first singles.
At the time, they had Jesse Wood playing with them, and it was Roddy Wood's son.
Oh.
So he's married to Fern Cotton.
Right, okay.
But yeah, that was quite cool. They used to come in over lunchtime when they were on a break.
Yeah, that's fun.
The celeb who's been mentioned thing on YouTube is just going to be going mental.
One person.
Marilyn Monroe.
It's like editorials of Heat magazine or something going on in here.
What about yourself? Have you performed with or met any idols?
I've got a really bad memory, so I don't really think. I'm sure I've met people who. There's like a part of you that's like, oh, wow, that's that person. But I couldn't give you a specific name of anyone who have been like, wow. I did meet Michael McIntyre, which was really fun, you know, and he was really nice, and he was hiding from an audience member who goes to all their show, and he was saying to me, like, they're really nice, but I just can't get into a conversation with them. I've got to go, so I've got to wait for them to go. And so he was hiding, and there was just something really unique about seeing a man of that stature in such a vulnerable position, just hiding away. So I really liked talking to him.
It's just one of those. You kind of don't believe that sort of stuff would happen for somebody of his, like you say, his stature. You just think, well, really, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, what in terms of audience members?
Just the bizarreness of the whole situation of it.
Yeah. Yeah, just seeing this man from the telly hiding behind a pillar. He's going. It's like, oh wow, you're a person. Yeah. I was almost convinced you weren't a person, then I've met you, and I'm sure that you are. Yeah. So who else has been in?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I think that's
Reef's a really big one. Reef's great.
I was going to say, talking about the whole sort of the fame celebrity thing. The most interesting thing when you meet, like, you know, a big famous person, like suddenly you go, oh wow, you're a person.
Yeah.
Playing with a load of other sort of no one bands, and then seeing the good ones sort of at the end. Skank and Nancy.
No way,
I remember
really.
seeing them. They but we were on the same bill, and they were just blistering. They were just great. And we were all watching them. And there's, you know, you didn't usually always, if you're doing a gig, you haven't got this time to spend watching other people and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But just everybody just appeared because everyone was just interested, going, "What's going on here?"
What is this?
And they were just the energy behind it.
Do you intuitively know when you see?
I think we all do. I think that's the point. I don't think anyone was sort of going, "Oh, this is good." They were just interested, and then they were kept there by the presence of this performance. And Skin was wearing this. She was covering her bald head by wearing this sort of head scarf thing. They weren't called Skunk Anansi yet. They were called Mum All Out.
Right.
Like that terrible name. But then, 6 months later, quite rightly, they started to appear in Kerrangs and all the rest of it. And you're seeing these people, you saw them as people first, and now they're appearing as these sort of photographs in magazines.
Yeah, almost like not people.
And that was really interesting, sort of seeing that happen the other way around.
It's really fascinating. Yeah, it's happened to me a few times with people that I've known earlier on, and then see them, and it's like you see them and don't see them. Then it's really fascinating.
I've often thought of fame and celebrity as being a kind of a currency, in a way. It's not a real thing, but if there's consensus, it exists, much like real money.
Then it is, yeah.
And when that consensus disappears, suddenly it's not worth anything anymore.
Yeah. God, that's depressing.
Well, it's not, because it's. I think the worst thing that can happen is people can believe it's real, or even worse, if they're sort of famous for. I mean, you see how child stars get mucked up.
Well, they just never know. They never know what it's like to not be known.
So it would be fairly awful to be a Britney Spears.
Oh, it's the worst thing. Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
Well, I think in the future, I think
cruel to allow that to happen to a person.
Yeah,
because they've got no way of,
there's an argument
themselves later on.
Yeah, but I do think we'll look back and consider the pursuit of fame of mental illness. I think it'll be in the DSM. I don't know why I said that with a straight face. If I really believe that, I don't know.
No, I think
there's a strong case to be made.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that.
But then you got to argue that social media has been a massive platform for people to try and achieve that.
Well, Andy Warhol's prediction coming true, isn't it? They will be world famous for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
they've got it down to 15 seconds.
I was going to say, it sounds like that was an overestimation. But...
like a telephone in every town.
Yeah.
We are at 8:05, by the way. Are you happy to keep going, or?
Yeah, his head's the wrong shape.
Oh, it's not the first time I've had that.
I'm trying to fix it with my painting.
How long have you been in Shenable for?
4 years. But my parents live here, and my parents lived outside Sherborne for a few years as well, so we used to come in, so I was like familiar with it. And then I moved here during one of the lockdowns, and then found a flat near my parents that I could afford to rent on my own, so I was like, I'm going to do that for a bit. So yeah, so I've been here.
And have they always lived around here then?
No. They moved down this way about 10, 15 years ago. From Surrey for a while. Yeah. Trying to get my own life story in together. From Surrey. And then, I'm down here. They love it.
And you?
Man, I'm here, aren't I? So I guess so. I think so. I think it's nice. It is really nice. There's lots of you have that. I often have those moments of oh wow, yeah, it is really nice, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You sort of forget because you get so used to it.
Yeah.
I can see an abbey from my living room window. Who has that?
Yeah.
So to be able, sometimes I'll just see it and be like, that's actually insane.
Take it for granted.
Yeah, that is insane. Yeah. Yeah, so I do think it's a really nice town. Yeah, but you said did you go to school there?
Yes, yeah, I went to the Griffin.
Right, that's not the
It's not the posh one.
Is it a boarding school? Isn't it? No, okay.
No, it's up top of Bristol Road.
Right.
So, So state school.
It's a state school. They try and sort of ride on the back of the reputation of the fact.
Okay.
But they don't need to. I think it's a really good school.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Great. And then is that up until that's primary school and secondary school?
No, primary school I was in the village where I grew up in Buckley Newton.
Okay.
I moved out to started going to school in Sherborne.
Yeah.
I did secondary.
I see. Did you go to college and uni and stuff?
So I did sixth form here, and then I didn't do the uni route. I couldn't figure out what it was that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like getting into heaps of debt, not really knowing what I wanted to go and do.
Yeah, it's a big commitment if you're not sure.
So I just trained as a Thatcher.
Did you?
Yep.
That's so cool.
So yeah, that's I'm qualified in putting straw on a roof. That's so local, isn't it?
To be honest, it's one of the most Dorset jobs I've ever heard in my life. But do you make good money from thatching? Presumably you do, because it's quite a big thing to have to.
You can do. I think if you've got a big enough sort of set of teams that are working for you, if you're the owner of the business and you get loads of people out to go and do it. But
what's the biggest house you've thatched?
it took 32 weeks. So and
how many months is that? That's like 9 months.
Yeah. An average job was about 6 to 8 weeks. So this was
They measure thatching jobs the same way as pregnancy.
Well, they do a scan first.
Yeah. It was a complete, somebody had bought, spent about 2 or 3 million on a shell of a property somewhere, and they wanted to re-thatch the entire lot of it. And it was just the biggest ball ache.
Yeah.
What was quite nice about the thatching was that 6 weeks, you're in a different village. Generally, they're really nice houses that you kind of go to in beautiful areas, and then 6 weeks you're there, brilliant, move on to the next one. 30 odd weeks was just way too much.
Wow. Is it just because the roof's so big, or because it was such a big?
The roof was massive. There was lots of features about it. So there's lots of dormer windows and complicated bits, and there was one bit where the roof finished about 2 or 3 foot off the floor, but was one of the biggest expanses that I've ever had to thatch, to the point where our longest ladder on the floor couldn't reach the top. So that was interesting.
How did you get up there?
I could tell you, but the health and safety man, who's obviously going to be watching, would have kittens and hunt me down and break my legs or something. So, we did some doctoring and that.
Trampoline.
Yeah. It's supposed to be really quick when you're in the air.
Yeah. You get to do one straw at a time. That's really cool. But when did you I'm trying to think of the right way of phrasing it. How did you get into coffee? When did you get into coffee?
I've done multitude of different things. So thatching, and from that went travelling for a year, came back, got a job in a bank. Didn't enjoy that. Worked for a company that installed floating pontoons, and which we do sort of like floating stages, bridges.
What's a pontoon? Sorry.
Something that a boat will moor up against.
They have floating mats, similar like Regis.
Yeah.
Joined together with the
something
like that.
Oh, okay.
Ropes.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
So you can walk your boat rather than having to get
picture what you're describing. Right. Okay.
So we did temporary ones of those that you could put in and take out in a day. So you put them in, the job would be done, whatever that might be, and take them out.
Oh, that's cool.
Did that for a while. But the one thing that just always, I'd wake up in the morning and make myself a really decent cup of coffee. That's one thing that I just really loved doing.
Were you just impressing yourself every time? Like, how is this so good?
Yeah.
Am I good at this?
Just went, well, why am I not working in it?
Yeah.
Got a job in a coffee place in Yeovil, and then so the guy that founded and started Bean Shop approached me about 6 months of it after it opened, and said, "Do you want to come and work for me?" So I did, and then that was 10 years ago,
Wow.
11 years ago, something like that.
It's been open 11 years.
This one's been open for coming up 8 years,
Right.
but the roastery's been going for about 11 now.
Oh, I see. That's cool.
And so now I effectively run the lot.
Yeah.
Which, so all from importing the green coffee from wherever it is that we need to get it from, making sure it's roasted well
Yeah.
into the shop, and then dealing with everything in the shop as well.
Where do you order the beans? And does it matter that much?
Yeah, so we use a company called Algrano, and they're a middle person between us and the growers, and they've created a platform which is effectively I always liken it to a Facebook for growers and for roasters. So they can go online, lodge their lots of coffee that they have. Us as roasters can go on and look at all these different lots of coffee. In the meantime, speak to them about it and find out a little bit more about it, request samples.
Yeah.
For the bit where Algrano have it slightly differently is that they've got so many farmers, say in Colombia, that are all registered with their platform, that Algrano will organise a shipping container. And so each of these, say, 10 farmers that they've got, if 10 different roasters order from 10 different farmers, it can all go on the same shipping container, which then reduces the shipping costs for all of us.
Yeah.
Brings it in, they then disperse it when it comes back to it lands in Germany, and then they disseminate it from there. And it's amazing. It's completely changed the way that we've sort of ordered coffee in the past, because although Algrano are a middleman, they're taking a fraction of the cut as to what other brokers would do. And we actually have much more transparency about the entire process. So all of the coffee that we order has a CO2 report that's done on how it's got from source to us, which people are just wanting to hear more and more about. How sustainable is the cup of coffee I'm drinking? In reality, not very much, because it's got to be shipped from Colombia to get to you. It goes by ship, which is just not the most ecological way of doing it. But
What is there a better way of doing it that hasn't been figured out yet?
Not really. No, I mean the minute that you've got to transport heavy products from one place to another, it's got to be a ship.
It's shit.
There's ways that the shipping companies are starting to do things a lot better. More so than they ever used to. They're more tightly sort of regulated. Farmers. The other beautiful part about this, going back to the farmers, is that because we're paying a good price for the coffee that we're getting, a lot of that is then turned into regeneration of their own plots of land, and efficiencies, and making sure that things can be done better and are being done better, and people are being looked after. Which is a huge thing in the coffee world. We're constantly looking at the likes of Nescafe and Starbucks, and seeing how poorly treated some of the farmhands are in the plantations that they have, coffee plantations they have.
We've got a hi from Josie now.
We have had a hi from Josie. To be honest, I miss it. It was at 7:10, so.
Oh, right. Oh, it's nice and all quiet on the communication then.
It is a little bit. It's a nice conversation. But
Yeah. Did you how much do you have to learn about coffee? Do you ever just get sick of knowing stuff about coffee?
It takes about an afternoon.
Take about an afternoon today. No, there must be stuff you're constantly oh wow, okay, right, that's a thing.
the big thing lately has been water chemistry.
What's that?
It's the components that are within the water that you use to brew coffee.
It's the water that they brew the coffee in.
Yeah.
Right.
So if it's not of a, around here we've got really hard water,
Right.
which actually dulls the flavour of coffee. If you soften the water, then you'll get a better experience than if you're using hard water.
That can't be. That can't be real.
It's so true.
Well, you can tell the difference.
You can tell the difference.
You didn't say that.
I can't tell the difference.
You would.
Well, if you gave me 2 cups of coffee, one with hard water, one with soft water.
Yeah. One would be brighter, but have much more flavour.
Visually brighter, or
tasting wise. It would be brighter, probably more acidic. It would have just much more flavour to it than hard water, which, I mean, it's the classic bit is everything's chalked up. You would get a chalky taste if you put them side by side.
Man, I just think you underestimate how much I don't take things in day to day. I just don't think I've noticed, but maybe in a very, very controlled environment.
But how often do you taste 2 coffees side by side that are made differently? You're always...
You know what? I've never done that.
No, exactly. So this is what we try and do when we're doing something cupping, so the way that we taste coffee. You have the same amount of coffee in front of you, all brewed exactly the same, all brewed with the same water, all brewed at the same temperature. So the only thing that's different about it is the coffee.
Right.
And that's how we choose what we're going to next be buying. We'll put like 5 different Brazilians in front of us and sort of cup them and see which one we like the most of.
Right.
Or think that we can actually get, like with the roasting style that we do, we can sort of pull the best flavour out.
Okay. Do you get people who just say, "Oh, coffee, it's all the same"?
No, James.
I'd like to give them a hard time about. There's a lot of hipster posing, isn't there?
It's in that man. It's in that wheelhouse.
And I find that entertaining.
Yeah, but it is also like it's interesting. It is also.
Do you drink craft beer?
No. Do you?
Why?
No, I don't really drink.
Okay.
Are you into your craft ale? Do you collect the cans?
No, I'm dead.
You're not a can boy.
So flavour-wise, if you were to sort of choose a drink, what would you go for?
What drink I was going to have?
Not whether it be alcoholic or not, or anything. What if you were out gigging? What would you kind of like? If you could, what could you pick up and just go? That's brilliant. I like that.
If it was early in the evening, I would have half a Coke. If it was later in the evening, I'd have half a lemonade.
So okay, well, Coke. This is a kind of prime example. Would you go for Coca-Cola or would you go for Pepsi Max?
I go for Coca-Cola.
Why?
Because it's better.
They're the same drink. It's sugary brown water.
No, they're not.
You can't compare coffee to just how complex Coca-Cola is.
The unique nectar. There's a point though, isn't there? I mean, they got something right.
Yeah.
They tried to change it and nobody would let them. That's how good it is.
Yeah. Do you prefer Pepsi? You can't. No one can do that. No one can do that.
No, I like the craft colas.
He pretends to like the sort of
Oh, the ones where you can't really taste much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's like dissolved a cola cube in some water. Yeah. Yeah, I love those ones. £4.75.
It's actually made with organic ditch water.
What's the worst coffee you've ever had?
Generally service station coffees.
Yeah. Oh, what, out of a machine?
Yeah.
Yeah. When have you ever been surprised by a coffee where you've been like, this is going to be bad? And then you're like, oh no. It's not.
I don't know. I've been surprised by a coffee that I've been sort of tasting.
Yeah.
In that I never thought that it was the first time that I really tasted fruit in a coffee without there being fruit in it.
What was the what? Did you actually
Blueberry.
lose it? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But then it was £65 per kilo to buy it green, which means that we was
How much would you?
Any money on it, we'd have to sell it at £65 per 250 grams roasted.
So how much would that be per cup?
Yeah, we'd have to probably put a £10-15 surcharge on it.
For a flat white?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's bonkers.
That could be quite fun though. It's like a niche thing.
Yeah.
It's like not everyone's going to have it, but okay. But occasionally people will be like, do you know what? Let's have a cup.
I'm going to try it.
Let's have a let's have a
£10
latte. Yeah.
I've done a £3 surcharge on a coffee before, but so it's flat white is like £3.75 or whatever, and then it was £6.75 because I had an extra different coffee.
That's cool.
But again, it's that got to try it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you should do it. Yeah, the special one, the top shelf one that not everyone gets to have.
So we spoke the other day, and you were saying that you were potentially thinking of moving to London to make things a bit easier for you.
Yeah, I think. I'm looking into it. Yeah, I really love living here, and I love living on my own, and it's such a nice place, but it's just very difficult to maintain. In terms of gigging, it has to be done in little blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of go away for 2 or 3 days, do gigs, and then come back, and so I'm not able to gig as often as I like, and so there's a few factors. So I don't know.
So where are you mainly gigging in London?
It's all over really.
Bloody have me.
yeah. Whoever will reply to my emails. So everywhere really. But sometimes it'll be like a weekend somewhere, and you'll do their comedy club, and it'll be sort of 3 acts on the bill, and you're doing a set, and they can be fun. But it varies.
Is comedy really difficult to get into?
No, it's super accessible. I think because there's no. I mean, apart from like all sort of obvious barriers to entry that are there for various people at various stages, but like broadly, it's pretty easy to get into because you're not having to do a lot of work before you get to practice the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can in theory just rock up to an open mic night and just do it.
Yeah, it's got a built-in selection process.
Yeah, there's an immediacy to it, so you'll know. So I'd say actually it's pretty good in terms of being accessible.
And how supportive are sort of peers in your industry? How have you found it? Put it that way.
I found it fine. I think everyone's like broadly supportive, but it's like that thing we were talking about earlier about having operating in relationship to self-interest. Like it just is part of being a performer, or that there's a part of you that you have to actively battle with feelings of resentment if someone does something that you would have liked to have done, or that sort of thing.
Other people's success.
So it's there's so I think people broadly support each other and have maybe even I think particularly maybe in the last sort of 10 years have recognised that actually everyone succeeds if everyone's having a nice time, and I think also because there's less and less money involved in it, really all that's left is just doing it for the joy of it. So I think people are finding more of the joy in the doing, which means you're enjoying the company more because
it's doing comedy in London as poorly paid as playing music.
Yeah, almost certainly, yeah. Yeah, maybe
40 quid a gig kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe even, yeah.
That's mad.
I mean, some of them can be a bit more, but in London there are a few that don't pay. Yeah, massive amounts really, but I don't think fees have gone up.
Oh, and the same with
In
music.
like 15 years or
No,
something.
well, maybe longer.
I remember even before I started, I think comedians were bemoaning the industry and like this is like post-recession, and so I think.
But from a venue's point of view, why would you pay more if you don't have to?
Yeah.
If you offer that and a load of people turn up and they're good enough.
And people will accept it, and I think that's maybe a thing with comedy is that if someone else is willing to, there are plenty of other people who will happily do it for that much. So yeah.
Josie said the palette looks on the screen to be very warm. Interesting choice with the cools in the model and background.
Yeah, interesting choice, James.
Yeah.
We got some
What the hell?
What are we saying about that?
You're cool,
So,
but only in a colour temperature sense.
Are you finding at the moment because you've been in comedy 10 years, did you say?
yeah, about that. Yeah, just over that. Yeah.
Are you finding that patrons that are coming in, audiences are coming in, and you have to work harder now to get them to laugh, because the whole, I don't know whether there's a sort of rundowness feeling of people. Like, what's the, I'm trying to say, do
you mean like, are people too sad to laugh these days?
yeah. Or is the level where you're trying to make them laugh for people much lower?
Well, yeah, I think you could argue for both. To be honest, I think it really varies from audience to audience. But yeah, sometimes I think it could be. Yeah, I think it's both. To be honest,
That's such a depressing.
You could say that it's to your advantage.
Are people too sad to laugh?
But I don't think they are. I don't think people are. Unless it was our last day on Earth. But even then, I think people would be.
Oh, we need a laugh more than.
So I just think like maybe the worse it gets, the more people will.
But it's just curious as to whether there was a baseline of how you pick it up when you walk out on stage. Has the baseline of where you're working from to try and engage people to get them to laugh?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Is that lower, higher? Has it changed?
No, I've noticed a change. Really, you do notice little changes in audiences, and they're like certainly they're more restless post-COVID. You're more likely to see someone check their phone, get up and move around, or talk. I do think sort of COVID sort of made people forget how to be a person. Huh. But
some of us never knew.
Everyone can join us now. Yeah.
So what did you do during COVID?
Well, there were a few online gigs,
So
which were depressing, but some of them were fun. I mean, they were fun in the sense where, like, you know, it was like a very very, very heavily diluted version of the thing. So it was like a nice, to sort of get like a microdose of that thing. But mostly I did like a bit of, it was a few little bits and pieces, had a bit of work. So I was like reasonably busy. It wasn't a complete. I mean, obviously, like I lost money and I lost work and stuff, but it wasn't terrible.
best year I ever had. Should they bring it back?
I mean, sometimes I do think I did my best thinking in life.
Yeah. So much to be said for that, isn't there?
Yeah.
I think.
Did you done?
Think you're there.
No way. We did it in one.
Yeah, did it.
Went straight through.
Hour and a half, too.
So good.
Orange.
So what you expected when I sort of suggested and said, sort of come up and sit and...
Yeah, it's really fun. It's exactly what I thought, because you linked me to the video, so I got to see exactly what it looked like. But yeah, it was What? Who else have you got coming up then?
Unfortunately not. Then. A few more friends. There's a few people that you know, James, that you said that you want to get up here.
Billy Balls, I think. There's not a lot of detail, and some of the colours are quite interesting. So there's blues I got on at the beginning. They really jump out here, but once it sort of works all together as a whole. Another open mouth talking. That's good. I like the green and the red. So there's a sort of a theme going through it. And Yeah, quite happy with that.
That's great.
I wonder if I should move the black to the edges. I think I'll leave it. I might stain it later.
What does this dry?
Well, I just put a black stain around the outside, so it'll just take that grey down a bit.
Yeah.
Remove any contrast. But for the moment, I think that says what it wants to say. So, do you still want that print?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's
Oh,
so
well, that's
cool.
very flattering.
That's amazing.
Hang on. Have a go. Still. Sit down. I'll sit here and move my head along.
I'm so sorry. Was it annoying?
No, it's great
Yeah.
because you have particular positions you return to.
Yeah.
So there's this head tilt that way
Yeah.
that is when you're listening and thinking.
Is
I
it?
just hope
What
I
I mean?
mean. Sit there.
Yeah, there's a sort of sorrowful looking.
Great, my
It's
tea's gone
space.
cold.
Yeah, sorry about
Can't overcome the laws of thermodynamics.
that. Get your thermal cut.
They do those, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting.
Oh, it was a lot of fun to do. How do I do for time? So on the screen, you look quite ill, but it doesn't on
It doesn't at all. No, it doesn't.
in real life. It's the red around the eyes. You see, it's sort of like the character from Trainspotting on the screen.
Yeah. Mm.
But actually, in real life, it works okay. Can I reset that? I'm going to reset the colour on this camera and see how it looks.
That sounds like Jesse's coming in on Wednesday as well. Can I come and see it for real?
Oh, yes. Saturation. Okay. That's a bit more like it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tiny increments, but yeah, it's a bit more like it. Yeah, you look less ill. No. Right. Sorry about that. Yeah, it was a bit bright last week. Yeah, the palette was an interesting one.
Yeah, love this. Love it.
So this blue, which is sort of pretty much gone now. The blues and greens that were there at the beginning are the colour of the accent line on the side. So if anyone's wondering about that setup, that's the accent light. Just shining the side of the head from this side. And then the other light is up here, which is shining down, which gives it those, what they call panda eyes.
Oh.
Which doesn't, it's not sort of like something you'd use for a lady, it's not that flattering,
Yeah.
but it gives it a bit of drama.
Oh man, it's so dramatic.
Which is why I was thinking about the dark around the edge.
Yeah.
You know what, I'm
Do it.
going to do it.
Do it.
It's good to think about things for a bit sometimes before you just jump in and do something stupid. Good for Dennis. That's not funny.
So where would you have an exhibition in Sherborne?
In Sherborne, it's a bit of a nightmare. There's nowhere to exhibit. There's places to go and see stuff, but if you, as an individual, say, I'd like to show these things I've made, in the theatre, there's not really an opportunity for you to set that up yourself.
No. With the Sherborne,
But
it's just open they've got stuff.
Yeah, but that's they've got an exhibition
Right.
program. So, hopefully they might show an interest in something like this at some point, but that's not in my control. So,
Yeah.
what I do show at Shaftesbury Art Centre
That's cool. That stuff.
So
What was it? Was there a particular?
oh, that's so much better, isn't it?
Man, that's great.
Oh, yeah, bit of dynamism. Oh, it's still not right. I know, all this fiddling. Right, and use up the rest of the black.
Have you ever done a painting that's just like remains unfinished because you just
Oh,
for whatever
so
reason?
many.
Really?
Yeah.
What you just like get sick of it or?
Well, eventually I did an Instagram post a little while ago. I did long Instagram stuff, but I was painting over some old pictures, and one of them was sort of one of the rather big figures, and it's just one that had never made it. I kept working on it, and it just wouldn't quite work.
Right.
So I had this video of me sort of pouring some grey paint on top of it and like going over it with the roller. And then people were reading into it in the most remarkable way. There's a picture of the woman. Oh, he had a break. This is me. No, I'm excited about a new canvas.
Yeah.
And letting go of things that didn't quite work. I've got time for some little things. Nice bit across there. Sweep that blue across. That's good. That'll do it, I think. Yeah, I'll just fiddle with it anyway. I must not let myself fiddle. Right,
Amazing.
we'll find you a frame and we'll pop that up in the bean shop tomorrow.
I'll take a little photo.
Of course. Take one now if you like.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You're waiting. Very polite of you. Quite orderly.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for
No,
coming.
thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. What a treat.
It's a fun conversation.
Yeah, it's great.
And yeah, we might get a lot of people driven to the video because they think it's about all of the people we've mentioned. I think, can you see yourself? That's the question
Well,
I always ask people.
Initially, when I first looked at it, I was like, no. But then the more I look at it and the different angles I'm looking at it from,
It should change as you move.
dude,
around.
it really does.
Really
It
think
really,
that.
it really does. In
I
a way
want-
that
I
captures
want it to look
something.
like you're animated, like you're moving.
For sure. So like there's something really compelling about it. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of sort of pinning stuff down that I didn't do. So all around here, I can make your face be amorphous and move around.
Yeah.
Like the jaw's moving. There's bits here where it has to be pinned down, but they don't have to agree. And even the eyes don't quite agree. They're both leaning in. It's if your
Yeah.
head's doing the tilt.
Yeah.
So it feels like that's the idea.
Yeah. It's great.
But yeah, no, it's a brave combination of terracotta and green. Especially since you knew you were going to be, and yet you went with it anyway.
This is the thing that
I've got to admire you for this.
Thank you. I thought it'd be a nice contrast. I thought it'd be good. Well, I thought at least you might take one of them off. But
It worked well. No, I like the green. It's fun.
yeah, it's cool.
Brilliant. Well, I guess we're signing off early, but
We are,
thanks so
yeah.
much for joining us. And look forward to seeing you all next week. Who knows who we'll have?
Yeah, next week. I'm working on that.
Okay. Well, yeah, sort it out.
All right.